Okay, here's the video that nobody's made yet. Also, nobody's talked about this. I'm going to tell you which lens is not going to rock on your X-T2 so far as squeezing all the juice out of that extra juicy ultra fast autofocus, and which ones are just going to blaze fire. I own every Fuji X lens except for 3 of them, but I've tested those 3. Like the 100 to 400, the 23mm and the 18. I don't own those 2 for obvious reasons. They're Fuji's worst lenses, especially the 18, which is why they're for sale, used everywhere, and they have been now for well over a year. Okay, there are 4 categories. All of these lenses are going to be faster than on the X-T1, but the 4 categories are faster, but not surprisingly so. Painfully slow and noisy, especially if you're going to do any video work on them. Like the 27mm is so slow, and when you mount it on the camera, doesn't matter what your microphone is, external or the internal one, you'll hear it. So no dice on that, especially for video. Somewhat slow, certainly faster. All of these are certainly going to be tracking faster than the X-T1. And then we have 6 lenses that are blasting fast. Like, wow. And that's also the reason why I'm not going to use the 18 to 55. 18 to 55 is an awesome lens. Is it substantially faster on the X-T2 than the X-T1? Yes. But comparatively to the 16 to 55, no dice. Especially how much more quiet. If you're going to do any video work, a lot more quiet, but definitely faster. And anyway, so here's the rundown. These are the lenses that are painfully slow on the X-T2 relative to what its capabilities are. You're just not going to squeeze the juice out of these on the X-T2. 35mm f1.4. Way too slow. 18mm f2, not only slow but also noisy. 23mm f1.4, noisy and slow. 60mm 2.4, very slow. On that lens is a portraiture lens. I mean, who cares really if it's slow? It's also a macro lens, macro/portraiture lens. So ultimately you have to say, what is the purpose of these lenses? I mean, that's a macro/portraiture lens. Who gives a damn if it's slow? I agree with you, that's correct. 27mm, the absolute worst of all of them, slow and insanely noisy. Just and I have a couple of these lenses. It's not my example, so somewhat slower, still, you know, amazingly fast, but just a little too slow. That would be the 55 to 200, which is my favorite zoom lens from Fuji, especially size-wise. The 14mm, too slow, but not very. We're going to work our way up. Faster, obviously so, but not like shockingly fast. The 18 to 55 falls into that category. It's fine enough for tracking, you know, cars coming around the corner at 100 miles an hour, and people have been showing that on the X-T2. So yeah, it's certainly a lot faster on the X-T2 than it is on the X-T1. The 16 to 55 is a lot better and quieter. The 18 to 135. Got a couple of those. Definitely my favorite lens for traveling or just doing anything runabout. The 10 to 24. The 56mm f1.2. Again, who gives a damn? It's a portrait lens, right? So these lenses are much faster, but they're not like, wow, shockingly fast. That's the 18 to 55, the 18 to 135, the 10 to 24, the 56 f1.2 portrait lens. Now, these are the 6 lenses that are lasting fast on the Fuji X-T2. The 16 to 55, which I have right here. The 50 to 140, which has a triple linear motor for autofocus. Yes, the 50 to 140. Love that lens. The 100 to 400mm, which the only reason I don't own that lens is because it's a little too expensive. I've used it quite a bit. It's impressive. It's blazingly fast, but it's A, too expensive, and its quality of construction to me does not live up to everything else that Fuji makes in the line. And once you get into the 100 to 400, people keep asking, well, why don't you own that lens? A, it's too expensive. Not that I can't afford to buy it. I've got tons and tons of Nikon glass. If I want huge glass, I got that for Nikon. Just that price relative to the quality of construction, I just don't want that, you know. It's a big ass lens on the front of a Fuji. Just that's the reason I don't own it. But it is blazing fast on the X-T2. The 35mm f2. Whoa. Yeah, really damn fast. And that's the exact same design as the new 23mm f2, which I don't have, but it should be exactly the same. The 16mm. Whoa. Amazingly, all these lenses that are super fast on the X-T2 are recently created by Fuji. It almost seems like they had in mind that it would go on this camera. Yeah. And like really stupid ass fast. Like, whoa my god. With a quad linear motor, the 90mm f2 will just smoke your butt on the X-T2. You stick a 90mm f2, which I got as a free gift a few days ago. I still haven't figured out who sent it to me. I was told in the note that came with the 90mm to check it out on the X-T2, and I have, and I'm still not done testing it yet, but yeah. Apparently that quad linear motor, when you marry it with this and you stick the vertical grip on boost mode, that 90mm on the X-T2 burns, peels rubber. I'm just, really so. So that's the list. I will make the list below. I'll copy paste it below for you to look at. So the awesome ones, blazing fast, 16-55, 50 to 140, 100mm to 400, 35mm f2, which is that new little tiny lens, which basically is exactly the same thing that the 23mm f2 is going to look like when it's released here in 2 weeks. A 16mm, and the absolute pinnacle of all of them with its quad linear motor. It's just bam, it's right there. 90mm f2. The stinkers, the absolute bottom of the barrel stinkers, 35mm 1.4, 18 f2, 23mm f1.4, 60mm 2.4, and the 27mm. Most of those slow stinkers are not only slow, but if you use them in video, which I've been testing, no, noisy. Doesn't matter if you use an internal microphone or external. You just, you know, you're going to have to manually focus that and do a video with it. It's just, you know, you could hear it loud and clear in the video. So, and that's the beauty. That's also another reason why I got the 16-50. I call this the ninja lens for the Fuji X-T2, which is very appropriate. So anyway, that's the rundown, and people have been asking me that, and I have been testing that, and that's the lowdown. And I don't really, I gave great consideration to this, and I made sure that my statements in this video are accurate, and they are. So, thanks for watching. Catch you later. I hope I could help you out. And remember, people think this is something, and this is true of Nikon. I've told you people this before. People are like, oh my god, the Fuji X-T2 or the Nikon D500 is really fast. It is, but autofocus is not camera side only. Okay? Autofocus comprises several different factors. How fast the camera processes, what sort of detection it's using, phase detect, contrast detect, the lighting situation that exists, also the type of interface. Now this is not a Nikon, but Nikon actually has mechanical autofocus, and it has onboard motors, though some of which are AFS motors, some of which are silent wave motors. So even using the super fast Nikon D500, for example, the autofocus tracking can vary extensively depending on what the hell sort of lens, because autofocus is not camera side only. It is both. And Fuji is no different in that department. Although Fuji doesn't have mechanical drive lenses for their X series, but you know, autofocus together is between camera and like when you stick a 90mm on this camera is like a jackrabbit on crack. You catch my drift? When you stick a 35mm 1.4 on this thing, it's like a constipated turtle. Well, it's not that slow, but comparatively it certainly is. So thanks for watching. Catch you later. Bye. Bum, 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 bum.